Welcome to Trading Lounge and the S&P 500 for the 30th of June. So, this is where we're at so far. We've got wave 1 up here. We're counting 5 waves down through here for wave A. And then we're looking at an A wave here, an A and a B and a C for wave B here, and then wave C for B here. And then we're looking for this market to work lower from that point. In terms from the B wave here, we're looking down for, have I got it in here? Wave C down through here. We'll just move this across of wave 2 here. So for this to play out here, obviously we need the 3000 as resistance here. We need to see this low here breached off from this support here. So if that occurs, that's what we're looking for here. And in terms of the count, we're looking at 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, and 2 here, back to the 61.8% mark here. So we need to see it fail from this point. But we are today going to have a look at a scenario. If I'm wrong, then and the market moves up higher through here, what does that mean, and how can we count that, and how can we take advantage of that? So as I may have mentioned before, in reality we need this 3000 here as the retested resistance. We need this to come down and play under here, and then that confirms that we're going down further from that point. This move back up through here for this, we'll go in and have a look at this, and then we're going to have a look at some other counts. So in this move here, we're looking at, from this wave 5C of 2 here, we're looking at wave 1 here, 2 here. All of this is the third wave here, and then all of this as the, well, where's wave 4 gone? There it is, here. So we need this in here as wave 4, and then down for wave 5 here, even though it didn't make a new low here. So then we got to look at this here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, and watch it, see if it struggles at the 61.8%. Not that that's the end of the world. It may even pop up to the 65 here. But what I can say is that we have 5 waves in this structure here. So that means that we can go short under this low here for this, and that can start our journey to the downside. Also to here, the next time round, if the number 2 here becomes the resistance, that will also bring us down to the 3000 at that point. So we need that breach. This resistance here, we're also seeing that on the NASDAQ at 10,000. So it's retesting 10,000, and we'll have a look at that as well a little later. So this is where we are at the moment. So we do need to see it fail from this box here, and we need to see it move down through here. We need to see it under this level here, and then we've got our count. We'll be right with our count at that particular point. But as I mentioned, any move higher from this here, well, let's just say that anywhere higher than group 2 here, so support, this is 65, 72 and 80 here. So any support on 72 here, and then you'd need to be looking at long trades at that point. So if the market comes up into this space here, and you can see that it's, you know, obviously got support here, then you can go long from that point. Would have to clear this 61.8% retracement level, you know, with a bit of clarity here. So support within this group here will take us to the upside, and we'll need to be long from that point. And also too, if the 3,100 here becomes the support, then you need to be long there at that point. And we're going to have a look at counts for that to play out here as well. We need to, as traders, we need to look at both sides. So, but as it stands at the moment, everything is reasonably on track. But I do want to talk about other things as well today. So yeah, just recapping this here. So we need this, we need to see this market drop, and we need to see that low taken out here for us to, I can move that over here now, I've explained that. So yeah, in a nutshell, just recapping, short here, short under the 3020 as resistance, and then start building short trades under this level here for that. And then this count will play out as we've got it here in terms of moving further to the downside here. Now, now I want to talk about the bullish side. So I hope that's okay. I revisited this situation up here, right? Now, I looked at the cash market from a charting program, and I could see that we had this as the high here. But then I looked at data that I purchased, that's managed data, and I've got this one here as the high. So I want to go back over this here. I know it's just a subtle little thing, but it's worth talking about. So the data in this program here is data that I actually buy. The data, when I had a look at it before, was data that I don't buy, and I don't know where it comes from. So I shouldn't have done that, but that was a little bit of a mistake. But what I want to look at here, this is the one that when I looked at the data that I didn't purchase, that came in at the high here. So we know on the futures market, this is the high here. So on this one here, we can see that on the left-hand part of the screen there, we can see the high is 3154.90 over here for that. I'll just do that again there. So that's the high is 3154.90, and then I come over to this one here, and this high here is 3155.53. So this is the high here, and it's even higher than this one here at 3153.45. So it's this one here that we really need to consider being the high here, which changes the count a little bit. So this is what I wanted to talk about here. So considering this one the high here, then we can look at this. Well, let's just go back to the daily chart and drill back into this. So this is how we've been viewing the market here, and it's okay. You know, we've got wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here and 5 here. We've been counting stocks up on the NASDAQ as well, and the stocks on the NASDAQ, we're not really looking at them as wave 1 up here. We're looking at them as 3s and 4s. So yeah, that's another consideration that we need to take on board, but I won't get into that right now. But so in this case here, we were looking for this one to be the high over here, and we're looking for this to move down, which it still can, but we need to be mindful that it actually wasn't that high. It's this one in the middle here. So what does that actually mean here? So we could look at it, but now I'm just shooting the breeze here. From here on in, we're just looking and discussing things. So, so in this instance here, we could look at this. We know that this is a pretty strong case for 5 waves. On the NASDAQ, we got a pretty strong case that this can be 3 waves down here because it pulled up much higher here. But we won't go into that just yet. But in this case here, it does appear that we've got 5 waves here. So after a correction, as in this case, an A and a B and a C here, now I know that this is the actual high here on the cash market. We could look at that as an A and a B and a C here for wave B, and then we would look at this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here because it never made a new high here on the cash, and then down for wave 3, 4 and 5 here. So I'm wondering that is this wave A here, wave B here, and then 5 waves all squashed up into the level here for wave C here. Now, if that's the case, then if we take this high here, for instance, and this low down through here, squeeze it in there, open that up a little bit, then we've got here as the 50-60% retracement level here for this. So if we were going to count this down as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here and have this down here, copy this as wave 1 here and 2 over here, then that would also be valid as well here for that. Probably not the case, and the reason that I don't think that's the case for is because because this wave one here is really quite big, you know, it's actually bigger than this first leg here. So it doesn't really have the right look and feel for that scenario, but it's possible, and we should just sort of leave it there for a little while so we can think about that a little bit more. But my main takeaway here is that if that's the 61.8% here, then we could look at 3,100. Any move above the 3,100 would negate this 5 waves down here for wave 1 and back for wave 2 at this particular point. So the other wave structure that we could look at here, I mean, it's possible to have wave 1 here and then an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. It's a little bit short, but it does encapsulate everything that we need it to do in terms of a zigzag wave structure. So it's okay, you know, it fits. It's just not the best looking structure for that here. This is more like sort of something that you would see in wave 4 rather than wave 2. So yeah, anyway, this count here at 3,100 above that would negate any sort of further move down from that point at this stage. The other count here that we've had on our website for quite some time is this count here. So this count here can be dressed up like this here. So it's not making anything any easier, but having our 5 waves down here, having an A wave here, and then an A and a B wave here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the C wave of B, and then all the way back up to these highs again for wave C here into our 61.8% retracement level, and then drop from that point there. So that also chucks a bit of a spanner in the works, unfortunately. So even if we get above the 3,100 here, then we may only go a little bit further from that. So one of the things here that we'll just have, as we move up through here, we'll just have to look at the wave structure and try and figure out what we've got within that point. So the other count here, if we just for a moment imagine that, you know, we've got this here as the A wave here, the B wave over here, and the C wave down here, and we're going to go beyond this move here. We need, because we do need to look at that. If we go beyond that move there, obviously we don't want to miss that. So in that case, I've been looking at, well, we'll just have a look at the NASDAQ first, because with the NASDAQ here, this is how I've also been counting a lot of stocks as well, moving to the upside here. So this would be wave 1 here and 2 here, and then wave 1 up here and 2 here, and then wave 3 here, an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 4. And if we get support on 10,000 here, well, then that's going to help make that possible moving up through here. I certainly do not want to go long while it's retesting the 10,000 here, because as a trade setup, we would be looking to go short below this low here for that. That's what we would need to do at that point if it fails the retest, and that's just a perfect short trade setup. But if it doesn't fail at that particular point, then we need to look on the long side here. So we'd also need to have a look here for a classic trading levels pattern sitting on the 10,000. It is the NASDAQ, after all, that's sort of leading us mostly to the upside here. So we need to, you know, understand that. So in terms of being long here, we need to wait for the first high above the level for this market. And we need to see that as support there for that. So anyway, yeah, this just presents a different count here for the NASDAQ, which in tune, if we bring the S&P 500 into that space as well, then this is what it would look like here, with wave 1 here and 2 here, then 1 and 2 here, and then wave 3 here, and then looking at this here as 5 waves down here for the A wave, back for the B wave, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 4 here, and then we will move up from this point in here. Now, with all of this, I know this is a lot to take in at this point, and it does leave us at sort of, exposed to different scenarios here. But I think we just need to address them one by one and then eliminate them one by one. So first of all, we know that, on our 1 hour chart here, we kind of know where we stand with this in terms of shorting this. So we can, in a nutshell, we need the 3000 as the resistance. And if that's going to occur, then everything's been going okay here. So we know that there's a problem with this situation up here now. But wave 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2 here, failing on this trend line through here, and then moving down. And if that's the case, we know that the move up here is in 5 waves. So any breach of this low here, we should be able to get a small position here, and then definitely get a larger position on the 3020 as the resistance, and then also look to move in, well, pretty much anywhere under these lows here, as a short trade. So you don't have to be perfect in getting the retested resistance here. Just the fact that it moved through here, through this low here, then that puts it in a bearish mode. And as I mentioned here on the 15-minute chart here, we'd just be looking at this here as the A, the B, and the C wave here. There may be another little high to come in play here for this, but this would be our short positions through here on this. We need this to fail from here. And on that note, in terms of going long, we know that getting support on 72, we should be able to get a small position here, and we can also get a small position on here as well. But at the same time, we know that it can fail from these highs here as well. So that's where the risk comes in here. So on this one here, we know that we could look at this as the A wave here, the smaller A, B, and C here for the B wave, and then just come back up to these highs here and fail from that point here. So there is risk getting in here and here. So the time that we move up here into 3130 area here, then we'll need to just take a bit of care at that point. And in terms of moving higher from 31 here up to these highs here, we'll use the wave count and we'll use the levels as well, because from 3100 here, we've got subgroup 10, 20, and 30. So if we get support on 30, we know we're going to get to 50. So then all we need to do at 50 here, we just look for a classic trading levels pattern at 50, and then we move back in, and then we go higher from that point. So that's what we'll do. So the 3130 is important, and the 3150 is important as setups to continue the trend to the upside. And if it does move up, as I mentioned on the on this particular chart here, this is why we'll be looking to be mindful at 3130 to get support on 3130, 3150. If we get support on 3150, the midpoint, then we can look at this particular structure here as well here, which will take us above this high here and take us much higher at that point. So that's it in a nutshell. So the changes are that that we've got this count here, and we've got coming back to the 4-hour chart, so we've got this possibility coming in here, even though that from this little top here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, the market can fail at this 61.8% mark here, and this is a point where we'd also be looking to get in long here, so at 30.72 as a tested support here. So make sure that trade is just a smaller position than you normally would, and then we'll look to add on top of 31 here. If we add on top of 31, we can pretty much be assured to go up to between 31.30 and 31.50, and then we just need to treat 31.30 and 31.50 with classic trading levels pattern as support or not, and we may need to stand aside until we get those in place. But we certainly don't want to it's good to work out, understand both as a trader, to work out both sides of the market before it happens, because we'd look a little bit silly if we weren't long when we see after a move has moved up through here. So I don't want to be in that situation. At the same time, I'm still mindful that the market can break lower from this point here and possibly even this point here. But we know where to get in and we know where to add to positions here for this as well. So we just need to let the market tell us what, just observe the market and let it inform us what it's doing. And then at certain points, we need to be able to move in. So that's it in a nutshell. I'm sorry to bring in so many counts and make it so confusing when we had it all sorted out a little bit. And it still may be the case. It's just that I can see that this high that I had wrong before throws a bit of spanner in the works and changes the count somewhat. And the other thing here too is, as I mentioned before, with the NASDAQ as well. If it fails from this point here and then moves down, then we know that we're on the right track with our previous count. But if this market finds support on the 10,000, then things have changed from that point. And also too, don't go chasing the first move above the level, because it will fold back and you can pick it up at a safer position on the level after the support. All right. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what we've got at the moment. Unfortunately, it's the way I see it at the moment, and we just need for this to play out. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your patience. Cheers.